Hey everyone, Caroline here from organizingphotos.net, and today I want to talk to you about a little program called Photos Takeout, which is meant to give you a much better exporting experience from Apple Photos than you could with the native exporting function. So before I jump into that, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications every time I make a new video. And be sure to stop by at organizingphotos.net after this video and check out all of my free resources there. But let me jump in and show you a little bit more about this app. So a while ago, there was an app on the market called Photos to Disk that we all really enjoyed. Unfortunately, that program was discontinued. And as professionals, we have really missed having a really good exporting app to help us with client work. Sometimes it's just a matter of creating a better backup. Sometimes it's a matter of switching programs altogether. And when you export with the native exporting function, I guess you could call it, in Apple Photos, it just sort of dumps everything in a big giant folder and kind of, it's not a mess per se, but it's just enough to get you really annoyed and to give you more work than you really need. And so one of the companies that took notice of this issue was App Initio Limited, and they make a couple of other really good products, for example, PicScanner Gold and SnipTag, and we talked about this for a little bit, and they actually took this idea and ran with it, and now they have this app on the market called Photos Takeout. So really this app is just meant to give you a few more options when you export from Apple Photos, and this can be useful for you, like I said, if you just want to get out of Apple Photos altogether and move to a different system like Lightroom, or if you want to create a better, more organized backup, or if you just want to stop paying for iCloud storage and, regularly empty out your library and keep it elsewhere. So lots of great options for using this program. You can find it at photostakeout.com. And you can see here that they have a good overview of what the program can do. It's at 3 clicks is all it takes. And I'm going to be showing you exactly how this works on my own library. It's actually very easy to use. And that's one of the reasons why I recommend it so much, that it's really good for beginners. It's not an intimidating program by any means, and it's a very simple and straightforward layout. So let me actually jump into this program and show you exactly how this works. All right, so here we are in Photos Takeout, and as you can see, it doesn't look very scary at all. It's very minimalistic, which I really enjoy. It's hard when you get into a program and there's like 40,000 buttons, and then you realize after a while that you really only need 3 of those buttons. So I really appreciate the fact that this looks simplistic and not cluttered like we often see from so many other photo programs. So this is definitely something that you can try. Basically here in the left-hand side, you have the settings. So your source is the photo library path, meaning which library it exports from. If you are on Sierra or Mojave, I believe, you'll be able to just basically pick whichever library you want to export from if you have multiple ones. And most people won't have that. They usually just have one master library. But if you're a professional working with multiple clients who have different libraries, or if you just have different libraries for some reason yourself, then you can go ahead and choose which library you want to export from here. I believe on Catalina that you have to have the master library set before you open Photos Takeout for it to be able to pull any of the metadata out. But updates are coming all the time, so be sure to check for new updates and make sure that you use it in the way you want it to. Then underneath source here, you have destination, meaning export location. I've actually, for the purpose of this demo, just created a folder here on my external hard drive called Apple Photos Exports, and I'm going to be picking that. So obviously you want to make sure that you have enough space, but there's a really great little tally up here that you'll be able to see in a moment. And then for your exporting options, there's really 4 options here. Keep subfolders, which is super useful if you have, 1 year with thousands and thousands of photos. In that case, the folders would be 1 to 12 basically for the months. And that can be really useful just to be able to pull everything out a little bit neater than having just all of those photos from that year in one giant pile. We also have an option here to keep the metadata. As you may know, Apple Photos does not save metadata to your photos directly. It saves it to the library database, basically. And so when you've put in keywords and things like that, you want to make sure that you export with that metadata most of the time. There are certain cases where you don't need to. For example, if you're creating just a photo book or some other type of slideshow project or anything like that, and you really only need to pull the photos out, you don't need all the details. In that case, you can go ahead and choose unmodified, and it'll pull out the unmodified originals that doesn't have any of that metadata. Basically, how they went into Apple Photos in the first place. In my case, I always tend to keep that on because why not? And then you have keep ordered. For example, if you've had any sort of custom organization in Apple Photos, if you've rearranged photos and things like that, you can keep that custom order, which is really cool. On the bottom here, you'll see how many photos and videos are in this particular library, which is really good for professionals if you have to match it up to whatever is in iCloud or just the library itself. And then you have here in the main screen where you can select to export years, albums, or days. And so you really just click, let me show you here, years. Let me click on an album that only has like a few. So here, 2006 only has 1 item. Let me show you that so that it's quick. You really just click on the album here to select it for exporting, but you can also hold on your shift key and click multiple if you want to export more. In this case, let me just go ahead and pick 1, and you can see that it actually tallies up on top here how much you have and how many megabytes or gigabytes or whatever it's going to be to export that. So that's a great way to make sure that you have enough space. And then all you have to do is click export, and it goes pretty quickly, as you can see. So now it exported, and then if we go back and take a look, you can see that I now have that year right here. It was taken in November, and there is that photo. So really quick, really simple to export it that way. You can do the same for albums. Here are some photos of my house, 26 items, 1.16 megabytes. Let's export that so you can see how it looks in an album. And if we go back on the back end, you can see that there's the name of the album and there are the photos. We also show you days. You can obviously pull out different days, which is really cool if you just need a few specific photos. And let me show you 2 in this case. So 2014 and 2015, we have 2 days that I'm pulling out, 16 items total for 40 plus megabytes. Let's export that. See that went pretty quick. And if we hop on the back end, you can see that now I have it by date. So that is something that is really cool because Apple Photos just doesn't do that very well. So just being able to create organized backups, I think, is a huge, huge pro of this program. And of course, if you're moving and migrating photos to another system, this program is just invaluable. So I highly, highly recommend Photos Takeout to you. I look forward to hearing your comments on it. You can find it on the App Store. Just search for Photos Takeout and you'll be able to find it. I'll be sure to link to it below this video. And thanks for watching.